You what?
I literally watched Moana 2 yesterday.
Did you watch it?
Was it
Yeah, I did.
absolutely garbage?
Dude, I actually bust out laughing twice and rhetorically asked, "What am I watching?"
Did you watch it by yourself?
Nothing can live up to the first one.
No.
Yeah, they
Did you-
proved that.
Did you watch it by yourself?
Yeah, how sad does that sound? Not really. No. Hold on. Let's just restart this entire thing.
It's recording, so I'm gonna keep that in there for sure because that is
Yeah,
amazing.
let's definitely not
This is
do that. This is not a good way to start. This is the least professional way I could have started.
Let's just get really, really into it.
All right, guys, welcome back to the Take 3 podcast. Today, Luke and Sam are on. We are going to be talking about how exactly do I say this? We're going to be talking about we have 5 different brackets with different action heroes and action characters, and we're going to be discussing and debating about which characters come out on top of their bracket to become the top insert action person in their bracket. It'll make more sense once we start going.
It's all action all day. It's like
Yeah.
March Madness, but for action stars and heroes.
Pretty much.
Let's stop right there because none of us know anything more about March Madness brackets.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I know nothing about sports. Yeah, that's right, Sam. That's right. But yeah, last week Sam was on and we discussed the concept of movie villains and went into an in-depth dive about what makes a good movie villain and what doesn't. So Sam is back and Luke is here again.
He's
so
back
we're
to
going
back.
to be
That's a good sign.
it is a good sign. So we have 5 different brackets separating the different types of action characters that we have. And we have the 5 categories are hand-to-hand combat, guns, fighting with guns, enhanced individuals, cyborg individuals, and swordsmen. So it'll all make more sense once we do it. And all the brackets have been filled out or have been randomly assigned. To a degree, I've changed some if they were just simply not fair and not entertaining. So I've filled out the brackets to make it the most entertaining for conversation. So yeah. I don't really know whose idea. I think we all kind of came up with this idea. I think I brought it up when we were all pretty about it. But yeah.
We refined it together. Yeah.
Yes. So I asked Sam and Luke to send some characters that they wanted in here, and we included all of theirs and some of mine as well. So we're gonna start with hand-to-hand combat. So I will share my screen. For all of you people listening on Spotify, I'm sorry. We will speak out loud as we go. Okay.
Oh, we are pretty much experts on hand-to-hand combat now after the bachelor party, though, isn't that right, Josh?
100%. After I got knocked down by Luke, I can safely say I have learned my lessons on hand-to-hand combat. I think hand-to-hand combat is the one that we're probably most passionate about. I would say either that or probably the guns one. But so here's the bracket we have. Off the bat, Sam, what matchups strike your eye?
Oh wow, fascinating. There's Luke Hobbs and Ethan Hunt in the top right corner.
Uh-huh.
I'll take Luke Hobbs and Ethan Hunt for 400, please.
Okay, and Luke, what about you? What strikes your mind here?
I caught Batman and Tyler Rake would be a fascinating showdown. I'll be curious to jump into that. I did just watch both Extractions yesterday, so
of course you did. Why would you?
I'm bowed up.
Okay, so this is gonna be a lot of conversations, so we're gonna go ahead and dive in. Dive in, Bailey. Bailey's
we're gonna dive in.
Anymore, so, so the first one, and Sam was just talking about before we started recording how he just watched Furious 7, and his information and opinions on Deckard Shaw have been rejuvenated. So the first matchup here is might be a little bit difficult, but we got Bane versus Deckard Shaw. And Sam, I want to hear your thoughts first.
Well, is this Dark Knight Rises Bane or is it a
Good question?
we're gonna every single character here is from the movie version of that character. So it'll be Dark Knight Rises Bane.
All right, wonderful. And we're talking about hypothetically who would come out in their hand-to-hand fist fight?
Yes, hand-to-hand fist fight. This is in a just pretty much street fight or like an enclosed area hand-to-hand combat.
The imagination runs wild. You wonder. So that Dark Knight Rises Bane, ergo he has no venom, technically.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
He'd still have the weakness of like the pain he feels with breaking the mask when his mask is broken, though, right?
That's true. So,
yes.
But that we only found that out. I'm trying to deduce what I can argue because Batman had his little sharp gauntlet that cut the mask, and Deckard Shaw is a mortal man who technically has no uniform. Ergo, if he's in plain clothes, then he's just got his bare hands, right?
Right.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of fascinating because it's the idea of he was able to overpower Batman, yet then Batman got him back the second half of the movie.
Right.
Raw skill versus brute strength. Lots of stamina and vigor. I would just give it to Deckard Shaw because at the end of the day, we see the juxtaposition between Luke Hobbs as a character and the physical feats of strength that he can possess. Yet Deckard Shaw still manages, even if it isn't to come out on a total victory, to absolutely not get beaten to a pulp in contrast. And I would tell you that the physical accomplishments of Luke Hobbs across the Fast and Furious films are greater than the strength of Bane in Dark Knight Rises. Ergo, I'd give that match to Deckard Shaw.
Okay. Luke?
Not just because I really want to get into a Deckard Shaw versus Dalton, just because I like thinking about that. I want to start creating, like, whenever we have access to this in like a year, I want to start creating these AI videos that are coming out, and I want to watch all these matchups happen. As they would have it. But no, I'd agree with Deckard Shaw. Again, I think Sam made a good juxtaposition between Luke Hobbs and Bane, like when it comes to Shaw fighting another more like enhanced, as it were, individual. I think that Shaw just comes out on top time and time again, because I mean Hobbs has like kind of almost superhuman strength too, that might rival Bane from the Dark Knight series even.
Even Idris Elba from their spin-off movie was way stronger, dude.
Oh yeah. Well, and it's interesting because we can even see through like Idris Elba's eyes, like the amount of force that Luke Hobbs is throwing his way. Like you see like multiple. I don't remember exactly what it was.
Yeah, it's like 1,200. It's like 1,200 pounds.
Like almost like over 1,000.
I watched that yesterday. That's the only research I did. I do other things than watch movies.
I thought you were using your magical memory brain. Oh,
I would also like to credit that.
His superpower. No, but yeah, I mean, I don't really have much more to add there. I think Shaw comes out on top. I mean, his skill kind of wins out. Bane, especially this Bane, because they're different types, right? Like, honestly, comic book Bane is not that hard to beat, because like if he's using the Venom, then if you just take away his Venom supply, then like then Batman can kind of beat him down.
Right.
Once you get past that, but even Dark Knight Bane, I think again we've seen Shaw fight Hobbs, and so we can watch him beat Bane in a similar fashion.
Yeah.
It's a shame to isolate this character away from the guns and the cars, because it's him in conjunction with pretty exceptional resources that makes him a formidable antagonist in the movies.
Yeah, and there'll be more of those situations to come in this bracket for sure. But I would also agree. I haven't seen Hobbs and Shaw, but I've seen scenes from Hobbs and Shaw, and just the tactical like intelligence that Deckard Shaw has, I think outweighs just the brute force that Bane might have. Like, yes, Bane is just bigger, but I don't think in this instance that is a kind of overarching factor that wins out. So I would agree. I think Deckard Shaw.
Luke, did you hear the origin story of Deckard Shaw from Furious 7 that I referenced in contrast to John Wick 3 when he's excommunicated?
I did. He's being hunted by all the governments. Were you saying?
Yeah, like all the blacklist sites, dude,
exactly.
for more than 6 years.
And evaded capture by all of them.
Yes. Yeah. I just wanted to point that out in his defense.
Yep.
All right, round 2. We got Adam Clay versus Bucky. So Bucky's not using guns, only hand to hand. I can start here.
For those that might not know, Adam Clay is Jason Statham's character from The Beekeeper, his movie.
Which is, yeah. Okay. Yeah, so I think, and Sam and I were discussing this prior, like Bucky is obviously a more, I don't know the proper term, but he is a more enhanced individual.
He's called, in the comics, it's called peak human.
Right. Mm-hmm. So he has that advantage there already. And I think like with the training and with the fighting, just from the movie's perspective, I think we see more tactical fighting out of Bucky than we do from Adam. So I'm going to give it to Bucky here. I don't have much to say more about it, but that's just my initial thoughts on it.
Would you define tactical fighting? Like what do you mean by that? I'm not trying to be a jerk.
No, it's a good question. We see him be able to fight. I guess it would be more flexible fighting in the sense of he's able to fight and adapt in many different situations. So we see him fight hand to hand against Cap. We see him fight.
He's versatile.
Versatile. Yes, I'll use that word instead of tactical. Yes, he's a very versatile fighter. And Adam Clay obviously is too. Now, I also want to point out all of these fighters are with the same drive that they have in the movies. So Adam Clay is coming off of, I think it was that girl that was killed, or the grandmother that was, that killed herself, whatever. And Bucky's obviously coming off peak serum, super soldier, that kind of thing. So I'm just gonna give it to Bucky. We have a lot of these, so we got to make sure we keep our conversations concise a little bit.
Of course,
I'm gonna give it to Bucky here.
Yeah. There's a lot to say about a lot of these. So good point, Josh. We've got multiple brackets, so we definitely want to expedite it. I think Bucky whoops Adam Clay there.
Bucky definitely metal arm, incredibly fast, and then he was able to rival Cap's strength, and Cap himself is an enhanced being. So definitely him.
Okay, cool. All right, we got Tommy Conlon from Warrior versus Six from The Gray Man. These were two I added, but I thought it'd be pretty fun because I'd never seen Warrior. I'm still waiting to see it with Luke. But The Gray Man is one of Luke and I's favorite. We love that movie.
The Ryan Gosling thing?
Yeah, it's a Ryan Gosling movie.
That was the Ryan Gosling, Chris Evans.
Yes.
One.
So Luke, I want to hear.
I've never seen either one.
Okay. So Luke, this might just be a Luke and I conversation then. So Luke, what do you think?
That's hard. Tommy Conlon has just brutal strength, one hit knockout strength against seasoned UFC fighters.
Yeah.
And he's no joke.
Yeah.
But then you've got Six, and you see Six can take a beating in a big way. He's more trained to disable and to kill rather than to just win a fight. Tommy was, of course, a soldier as well. But Six has such specialized training that I'm gonna give it to Ryan Gosling's character just because of this, the kind of the type of training he has. I mean, we see him take such insane beatings throughout movies. He's even getting shot and cut up, and everything. So I think that his endurance beats or wins out from Tommy's brutality there because Tommy ends up getting put down at certain points. Not to spoil anything. But.
Right.
What do you think?
I'm torn on this one. I was leaning more towards Tommy because of his. I mean, I just think he's more educated in hand-to-hand combat. Six relies a lot more on weapons than Tommy does. So I was leaning more towards Tommy, but And I was thinking if there is a 50-50, we'll just flip a coin, and then whichever one gets that, we'll just get it. So I'm gonna go with Tommy here. I think he has the more educated. We've seen him beat opponents that are bigger than he is.
Mm-hmm.
And the only really hand-to-hand combat we see with Six is when he's fighting Lloyd at the end of the movie. And while Lloyd is bigger, I don't know. It's hard. I was like pretty torn on the phone when I was thinking about it, but we'll flip a coin for it. All right, so let's do Tommy is heads, Six is tails.
You have a coin? Oh, okay. Oh, Siri has a coin.
It's tails. All right, Six will move forward.
All right, come on now.
All right, now this one I'm really excited about. So this one, we got Batman. So this one I left to flexibility here.
Okay.
And we can discuss about what film we want to take the Batman from. I assumed we were talking about Dark Knight Batman, or let's go Batman Begins Batman, but I'm more than willing to change that versus Extraction's Tyler Rake, which is Chris Hemsworth's character. Yeah, I felt like this was going to be a really, really good battle here. Let's start with Sam here. Sam, what are your thoughts on this one?
Tyler Rake's skill is in his ability to transition seamlessly between weapons, including hand-to-hand combat, but not limited to hand-to-hand combat. Batman's original proficiency was always the use of non-lethal weapons in the actions of subduing any attacker. Take it from whatever generation or whatever iteration of the film you wish. The whole appeal of Batman is that he dominates the attacker without lethal force. Tyler Drake, his training is completely based upon lethal force.
Mm-hmm.
And so as far as hand-to-hand goes, you take away the guns, you take away the majority of his training. I mean, I guess I won't pull from anything that I would tell you. But without certain weapons and without certain armors, I mean, if we take the armor off of Batman, I'd still have to give it to Bruce Wayne as a character, as it all goes.
I mean, oh, gosh dang it, I love the Extraction movies.
I think Extraction is a great movie. It's one of my favorite action movies of all time.
Amazing. Like, honestly, especially the second one for me. I like the second one over the first one.
Yeah, incredible.
But, I mean, I'm just looking through, like, look who trained who. Like, look who Batman was trained by. It's like, that's, in any iteration, like, you know, this is a whole other conversation. I'm not nuts about Christian Bale's fighting style in The Dark Knight. I don't think that, or in Nolan's series, I don't think that's indicative of like how Batman was trained or fights. That being said, he was trained by the League of Assassins and was the best of them. And like Sam said, he doesn't even use lethal force. And like because if he did, he'd be that much more brutal and dangerous.
Right.
So yeah, I'm gonna have to give it to the Batman.
I'll tell you from my own personal experiences of working with contracted officers or contracted military or contracted security. Once you take the weapons and or whatever guns away from the person, their hand to hand is not as much as you think.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Tyler Drake is Rake or whatever his name is. I mean, a black belt in karate, probably at best.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He was never one that struck me as like a character who's like proficient in all fighting styles as Bruce is. I mean, there's no contest.
Yeah. I'm also going Batman here, but I also think what made Tyler Rake so much of a conversation, at least in my opinion, was just his motivation behind, the motive behind it. He took so much beatings, like bullets, and I mean he went through hell and back,
gritty.
Especially in the second one. I mean, the first hour is just him getting beat and just powering through it. So that's why I was like, okay, maybe there's a chance, but I agree. I mean, you make a good point. I didn't think about like who he was trained by. It's a really good point. So yeah, I agree. I think
because again, to Sam's point, like military guys, their training, even if we go like Delta Force guys, like those are like they do not mess around. They're recruited. Delta guys are recruited from Green Berets, from Army Rangers. Yeah, like that's the top kind of elite guys, and their training goes between like again some hand to hand, some CQB, but then you've got it's very heavy on like firearms training and like all of that too. So it's hard to compare between that and how Batman was.
The last thing those guys are trained to do is actually have like some cage match style punching in the face.
Exactly.
No one's doing judo. No one's doing wrist locks. I mean, that's just not going to happen.
Right.
Yeah.
Because that's not the job. That's not the job. And neither for Tyler Rake was it the job.
You know what I'm just thinking about?
Tell me.
I don't think Groot should be here.
Yeah.
What?
I don't think Groot should be here. I was looking, I'm like, no. So okay, I'll replace him with Dalton, and then I'll go ahead and move Deckard just up here.
And hey, after we advocate for these characters once, let's all just pin that in our brains so we don't have to do it again.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, we'll go down there then after this. Yeah, I guess that's fair. Should I change Dalton with somebody? You know what?
He's going to get picked off pretty early.
I'll say, here's what I'll do. Here's what I'll do.
Okay. Actually, that's actually
that'll be more fun. All right. Up next, we got Luke Hobbs versus Ethan Hunt. Luke Hobbs is the other person from Hobbs and Shaw. That is the Rock's character, right?
Yes, and
the 250-pound man.
Yeah.
Opposed to Ethan Hunt.
Right.
The 5'6" spy.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I definitely got those two mixed up. I thought Hobbs I was making this was Jason Statham's character, so I was like, "Oh, that's gonna be pretty fair." But now that I'm realizing that's The Rock, yeah, that might not be very fair.
That's funny.
Go ahead.
Sorry, even in that mix-up, I think Shaw and or Hobbs both whooped and Hunt.
Okay.
Either way, especially Hobbs. Just right. I mean, look at what was it? Rogue Nation, Mission Impossible Rogue Nation, where he's fighting the guy in the rafters of the theater.
Oh,
that guy,
right.
he was like 6 foot, maybe 6'3",
or 5'9". Sorry.
And Ethan Hunt still has a great deal of difficulty putting him down.
Yeah.
So if you put him up against someone like Luke Hobbs, like holy crap.
And I mean, think about Fallout too when he's fighting like the Asian gentleman in the bathroom. I mean, that guy's 5'7".
Yep.
Like 150 pounds, 160 pounds.
Right. Like he pulled it lucky over Cavill at the end.
Yeah, he did. He did. Yeah. That would have been pretty good. Is putting Ethan Hunt against Cavill, but we've already seen that. So I guess
we saw how that worked out.
Okay, so we all in agreement that
easy winner.
Okay, cool. You. Okay, we got Dalton versus Rocky. Dalton from Roadhouse versus Rocky from Rocky.
So you have to be aware. Is this boxing rules?
No.
Or
I imagined it pretty much. I mean, hand to hand, but you can use whatever.
Ooh.
Like you can.
Well, Josh. What does that mean then?
I mean,
are we in a kitchen? Are there knives?
No. I'm saying you can use any fighting style. You can use Muay Thai. You can use Jiu-Jitsu. You can use,
boxing. You can use
boxing.
Okay. Because boxing MMA, and street fighting,
a lot of rules.
Nothing is going to help you. That might actually just go to Dalton.
Yeah, I agree. I threw Rocky in here because of his motivation, and like a lot of these characters have that like just dog in them. And Rocky's one of those characters, but
I think
go ahead.
I think that's the most fair matchup of any of these, really. But I still, all out street fight, there are a lot of rules in boxing. And if you put Dalton in a boxing ring with Rocky whoops him. But if they're just getting
just getting
into a fight on the street, then Dalton's going to take it because he's just a much more versatile fighter.
I mean, dude, he's killed a man. Yeah. He's killed multiple men. Right. And Rocky's a pacifist in the films.
Yeah,
he's not into the violence. He's just into the sport.
That is true.
So him in a street fight would be a totally different game.
Oh yeah.
Okay, Dalton moves on. Let's go to Jason Bourne versus Dom Toretto. I can start here. I just like from the Fast and Furious movies that I remember. I think a lot of them are pretty weak in my opinion, but I think some of them are decent.
Those fighting words.
I'm okay with that. But I don't remember seeing Dom Toretto in a lot of like hand-to-hand combat fights. At least from what I remember. I think Jason Bourne is more versatile, and we've seen more evidence of him being a fighter, that I would put him over Dom.
Well, here's one thing we have to come to terms with. Dom has an insane amount of plot armor on to make a whimsically silly action movie that defies logic. The Bourne are a very realism, gritty style thing where there's fall damage, people actually get hurt.
Yeah.
You can get killed. And in Fast and Furious, like, if you die in those films, you will literally come back to life.
Yeah.
We've seen multiple times.
So it's like the real character of who Dom Toretto is, I believe, is best portrayed in the first one, where he's the more of a normal human being. And so, Jason Bourne would totally be the conceptual idea of Dom Toretto.
Yeah. Luke, you agree?
I agree. Send Jason through.
Jason Bourne goes through.
I mean, I want to take it also as just like, hey, like really conceptually, some guy, some grease monkey from Los Angeles, that's just not going to happen.
Right.
Yeah. That's true. All right. Final round of round 1. We got Captain America versus Poe the Panda from Kung Fu Panda.
Cap takes it.
Yeah, I agree. I wanted to include Poe.
Daddy at heart.
Because I thought it'd be fun.
I don't really know how to respond to that kind of comment.
There's just no way.
Just give it to Cap.
Hey, I knew some of these would be really fun to
He'd throw his shield at him and it would bounce off. I just want to point that out.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, I might actually change my mind, but not tell you.
But most of Poe's stuff is just literally all love.
Hey, Josh, we're not going to talk about the animated panda. Let's just move on.
All right. Round 2. All right. We got Deckard Shaw versus Bucky.
At the end of the day, Bucky's got a metal arm.
Yeah, I still think Bucky wins here.
Yeah, I agree.
It's just... Yeah.
It just comes down to what the world's like. I mean, I don't think Deckard Shaw could have beat Idris Elba on his own, with his enhancements.
No, I agree with you.
And so I'd say Bucky with his rivals that of Idris Elba's. I don't remember the character's name on the shop, but rivals Idris Elba.
Braxton, I think his name was.
Braxton, that's right. And so I think Bucky's got to take that one there.
Okay, cool. All right. This one might be pretty quick too. We got 6 versus Batman.
Batman
just takes it.
The answer is yes.
Yeah. Yeah. That'll be a good.
We all know.
All right. Luke Hobbs versus Dalton.
Hobbs.
Luke Hobbs.
I think Luke Hobbs just straight out of size.
Dalton was lucky to make it. That switch got Dalton through. That game time decision got through.
We had to talk that one out. I mean,
okay, I knew these 4. This one's probably gonna be kind of quick too. Jason Bourne versus Captain America. Are we still going Cap here?
Yeah, it's Cap.
Cap's fought spies before. He took out an entire ship of Hydra agents in Winter Soldier,
and he took out an entire elevator worth of guys.
Honestly, that's
him,
actually a really good parallel because one of those guys probably is of the same thing.
Yeah,
they're all Jason Bourne level.
Yeah, and then 2 of them are like
literally their job.
100 pounds heavier.
Yeah.
All right, Bucky versus Batman.
Okay, Josh, just specifically define what Batman we're talking about, and does he have his stuff?
Well, this is up to you guys to decide. I was like, this is up to us to decide.
So I think
then let's agree.
Let's talk
on one.
It depends on which Batman, because if we're talking Christian Bale versus Bucky, I have to think about it a little more. If we're talking Ben Affleck's Batman,
no, that's the one.
Yeah.
Or just the idea of Batman as a character, then that opens the door for a lot more conversation.
Right. But we're just talking strictly movies.
Okay, because I was gonna bring up Arkham Knight Batman because I honestly think that's the most accurate.
That's the best Batman 100%. Put to screen.
Yeah, that would be Batman for sure. But if we're talking about movies here, do we all want to agree on Ben Affleck's Batman?
I think he's the most
he has the best chance.
Yeah, I think he's just the most brutal. Pattinson's so new. Bale's.
Yeah.
I guess they were trying to make it ultra realistic, but I don't think that is, like I said before, I don't think it's indicative of Batman's abilities.
That's true. And they say brutal about the Affleck's Batman, but if you actually watch where he delivers those blows, and I know it's just a film, but the cool thing was when you watch him make those fights and the way he delivers the blows against the enemies, you can see how mathematical he actually was. He systematically used physics and elements of force and weak points to mathematically tear down the other guy in his fighting styles. And that's what made it so much more fun to watch, because you realize it's Bruce really thinking through how to systematically take someone down, not just make hits.
Yeah.
So for that, if he can really get that way, I'm going to have to give it maybe to Affleck's Batman. If it's Bucky, that metal arm, a few hits to the face, I don't care who you are, you're done.
Yeah. So we got Sam going Batman. Luke, what are you going?
I'm going Batfleck.
Yeah, it has to be Batfleck, though. It can't be Bale or Pattinson.
Right, yes. Yep, right.
Or Clooney.
Yeah. Clooney probably not. Hey, and Michael Keaton's Batman. Or Keaton.
But Adam West would sweep the whole chart.
Adam West mops the floor with one.
Or Will Arnett Batman. Cleans house here.
Oh yeah.
I think Batman just. I think this does go back to the training aspect. Yes, Bucky's a super soldier, but I do think that Batman, he's smarter, and I think at the end of the day, his wisdom in combat would be the downfall of Bucky.
His battle IQ is going to win it over.
I completely agree.
Bucky's a super assassin.
Yeah.
He's not a super soldier.
Right. He's also in the guns one too. Intentionally, I did that because I think
that would change things up.
Okay, semifinals number 2. We got Luke Hobbs versus Captain America.
Dang.
I don't know Luke Hobbs, so I'm instantly going Cap. I don't know Hobbs' abilities. I've seen scenes, but y'all obviously dissect it more than I can.
So okay, I hate to keep coming back to this. Does Cap have his shield, or is this like street fight like he and Bucky?
No, Cap does not have his shield.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's
like I'm taking like him versus Batroc in Winter Soldier type fight.
Yeah. Okay.
I think that's such an even match. Again, based on the character of Hobbs, because like Hobbs is like again, it's kind of this like up tier level suspension of disbelief level strength of a person. It's pretty. It seems to me to be evenly matched. I mean, I really.
Luke, do you think that Idris Elba would have beat up Captain America?
No. Maybe.
No.
Well, because I'm thinking back to.
I'm just wondering. Truly, just wondering.
I'm thinking back to Cap's fight with Batroc, and he didn't immediately put Batroc down, which him holding it back, or
true,
because Hobbs would rock. Hobbs would rock like anyone.
But
I think that
also
I think Idris Elba would be a very evenly matched thing too. I worry that Idris Elba would come out on top of that though. As much.
That's exactly what I would say. And so for that sake of that, because I'm not gonna lie, I believe that Idris Elba's attacks would have been equal to Bucky's attacks, and a few of Bucky's hits on Cap in Winter Soldier totally rocked him, especially in the end scene in the helicarrier. I'm trying to pull from film, and I'm trying to equate the two.
Yeah, sure,
as a result of that, because of how much Hobbs can take before he goes down, Cap went down way faster by contrast in Winter Soldier, so I'd have to give it to Hobbs because it just comes down to
a lot more damage.
I agree, and that's what I'm saying. It'd come down to Hobbs as a character who can just take so much more damage than Cap clearly could from an enhanced cybernetic human, who Idris Elba was.
Right.
Okay.
So yeah, I'd actually give it to Hobbs.
All right, Luke.
I'm trying to.
Because I also just really want to have a Captain America versus Batman conversation a little bit.
I'm trying. I know, right? Yeah, right. I'm trying not to let my emotions get the better of me because I mean we all know how much I love Captain America.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't disagree with Sam's points though. When it comes down to it, I mean, he takes a lot more damage, a lot easier than Hobbs because they're not in the same universe. So kind of the the Hobbs's abilities, again, like I said before, require a fair amount of suspension of disbelief. But I might have to give it to Hobbs.
So you don't think it's for both you guys? You don't think Captain America's sheer willpower and his mentality could keep him up and even beat Hobbs?
I'm worried that only gets him. We've seen Cap's. We know that they can get like bones broken. Like we've seen Cap break Bucky's arm.
Yeah.
And so if Hobbs were to like just kneecap him, or like break his arm or something, then we're kind of done after that. Even with the willpower and the resolve. Yeah.
Okay.
Hate to say it.
All right.
You think Cap though, but you
I
don't
do
really
think.
know. Right.
I do think Cap, but I honestly I might watch Hobbs and Shaw like within the next couple of days to see if y'all are correct. If I agree with you guys, because that is, I mean, coming from you, obviously that's crazy. I also love Cap, but I just think Cap's like sheer willpower.
Possible.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. All right. So in the finals, we got Luke Hobbs from Hobbs and Shaw and Fast and Furious movies versus Batman.
Ben Affleck Batman, nonetheless.
Ben Affleck Batman, yes.
I think Batman takes it. I think Ben Affleck's Batman walks away from that. Maybe limps away. Maybe he takes some damage for sure. But I mean, we've seen Batman fight people like stronger than Hobbs. And again, that's like to be fair, he's got the kryptonite. He's got like, I'm trying. I think they're like comic and animated stuff too.
Right.
But yeah, I say Batfleck walks away. He's just so strategic, like so strategic. Yeah. Like he can exploit just human like human body part like exposure, pressure points, all that stuff. I think he can exploit all of that and walk away.
Yeah, I agree. Sam?
Yeah, completely agree.
Cool. All right. So Batman takes the hand-to-hand combat bracket. Now, out of hypothetical, Sam, do you think Captain America and Batman would be a different?
And that's everybody's favorite thing. They love to bring that one up because they're so similar. But once you take the shield away from Cap, I mean, that limits a whole lot from him in terms of facing off Bruce Wayne. So yes, Batman would destroy Captain America.
Okay.
Once the shield is disarmed.
All right. So now,
don't get through these. These are good. Let's speed around. We all know the characters.
Yeah. All right. Let me screen share the next one. All right. We're going to do enhanced next. So this is individuals that have enhanced abilities. I gave some people a bye because they had to in the regards to the bracket. But in this bracket, we have Darth Vader, Black Panther, Wolverine, Yoda, Magneto, Venom, Spider-Man, Deadpool, Iron Man, Doctor Strange, Gandalf, Mr. Incredible, and Thor.
Gosh.
I gave Darth Vader, Thor, and Doctor Strange a bye. Yeah. All right. Black Panther versus Wolverine.
Wolverine.
I agree. I agree. I agree. Yeah.
Especially because of how hard he went down in his own movie.
Yeah.
Golly. Anyways.
All right. Yoda versus Magneto. Thought this one was gonna be interesting. Two beings with extreme power.
Lightsaber.
But no. Ooh. Yes. Sorry. Yes. Now, like, the question really is Yoda's power stronger than Magneto's?
No, it's not. Magneto can lift the entire Golden Gate Bridge, and Yoda had to literally work his little green tail off to lift Luke's X-Wing out of the swamp.
True.
So, as far as their enhanced magic style capabilities, Magneto can use his with greater ease and a greater effect than Yoda can utilize his own. Even in Revenge of the Sith, he had that little Senate little thing that they all sat in, and he had to barely catch it. He could barely catch.
Yeah,
that's true. I didn't think about that.
So in juxtaposition to whose powers is more readily available to utilize, yeah, Magneto is taking that, and it's like, could Yoda use the Force jump to get close to Magneto to hit him with the lightsaber? Well, I hope so. Unless Magneto manipulated the metal of Yoda's lightsaber.
I was about to say exactly that.
That's a good point.
Even with, like the weapon, he's kind of screwed from the get go because lightsabers are made out of metal, and the Force is not stronger than Magneto's power. He could draw, like he could just draw and create a 5-ton ball of metal and drop it on Yoda, and kind of be done.
Yeah.
I think
I think, like, I agree. Magneto, I remember I texted you guys and was like, is Magneto too OP? And we'll have to come to find out. But I agree. I think it'd be interesting to see, though, if we ever saw a movie well done that was like peak Yoda, like very much peak Yoda, and see if...
I mean, I think the most... Sorry to cut you off. I think the most peak Yoda that ever happened is... Sam is an expert on this one. But is Clone Wars Yoda is, like, peaked. Like, the best we'll see Yoda.
Yeah.
In anything. But, I mean...
I agree.
Magneto.
Okay. Next up, we have Venom versus Spider-Man. Now, if this was comic Spider-Man, it would probably be a little different, but it's not. We're talking like strictly movie Spider-Man. Now we could discuss which Spider-Man.
I mean, we've seen that play out in Spider-Man 3 in Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. Spider-Man does come out on top. I mean, I'm kind of curious to see if they had, like, this could happen in a couple of years. We could see Tom Hardy's Venom versus Tom Holland's Spider-Man.
Because I think we would all agree Tom Hardy's Venom was far superior than whatever the guy's name was in the third Spider-Man original Venom, in my opinion.
Venom,
yeah. I think it's interesting. I do think Spider-Man does come out on top, but I don't think it's this, like, sweeping landslide of a victory.
Yeah.
Because
that's what makes his character interesting, because he is the capability that Peter Parker has to be a darker version of his own power.
Yeah.
Every time that they face off, it's the ultimate juxtaposition of identity. When he faces off against Green Goblin, it's ideology. But when he faces off against Venom, it's literally him facing his demon, which is the ultimate temptation to use his power for evil.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, I mean, we've seen that a number of times.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I give it to Peter Parker.
So Peter Parker, obviously.
Yeah. All right. So Thor gets a bye over there.
As well, he should.
All right, this one's fun. We got Mr. Incredible versus Gandalf.
I don't even know how to react to that.
Exactly. That's the point.
Josh, you go ahead.
I mean, because Gandalf, we're including, he does obviously have his magic, otherwise he would definitely lose. But it's also like with Gandalf, what we see is like his magic. It does take some time for it to, like, it's not instant because it's also his age. So his magic, while powerful, it does take some time to actually conjure. While Mr. Incredible is just like scenarios. That's true. That is actually true. Oh, true.
And Luke's right, because the reality is Mr. Incredible clearly has no density. He gets cut by that by the machine thing,
knife,
by the whatever that thing is. It cuts his arm, and it cuts it easy. So
True.
Gandalf literally has Glamdring. He has a sword pointed at the guy, and at the end of the day, all you have to ask yourself is, does the Balrog's sword, the giant fiery sword that he strikes Gandalf with, but Gandalf makes that ball of protective energy. Remember that?
Yeah.
Stop me if I'm going too fast.
No, yeah.
He he holds it off. So the question is, can Mr. Incredible punch remotely harder than the Balrog's own sword can attack Gandalf? I would tell you no. And even if he had a sword, Gandalf has a sword himself, he could stab him. And his super suit doesn't even protect against stab wounds.
Right.
Yeah.
So take that.
So Mr. Incredible's out, Josh. He's out.
Yeah.
It's over.
I agree. I just like Gandalf is, I mean, not Gandalf, Mr. Incredible. He's also extremely fast. We see him like, he's extremely fast. Obviously, he's super strong. But at the end of the day, I just, like, magic, you can't really beat magic. At the end of the day, like, that's just the simplicity of it. I don't think strength can ever beat magic. Right, exactly. So, I agree. All right. Iron Man versus Deadpool. Now, obviously, Deadpool can't die. But, I mean, unless you, like, decapitate him.
No, he can go back from decapitation.
No, there's Deadpool.
Oh, you're so
right.
I forgot about Deadpool.
Right, don't forget
about that.
Josh, maybe you should study before you make a fool of yourself.
I forgot about that. So dumb.
Yeah, Nathan played him in the movie, which was hilarious. I think like Deadpool cannot like be killed, but I mean he can be incinerated. And not invincible. So I think Tony takes that one.
Do you remember the little leg clasp that Stark shoots at Captain America in the end fight of Civil War?
Oh, yeah.
Dude, you think Deadpool can break out of that?
No. Right. That's what I was going to say. I think Iron Man's gadgets just outdo Deadpool. And it goes back to Batman. I just think Iron Man's IQ is too much higher than Deadpool's.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know? Even though Deadpool has his guns, but we've seen, I mean, Tony's suit is bulletproof. So
I don't think Tony gets enough credit. He is an insanely, he might, he went toe to toe with Thanos, but he is an insanely powerful, like, superhero.
I agree. All right. Now we got Darth Vader versus Wolverine.
Okay, well, Darth Vader.
I agree.
Just force choke from afar.
That's my thing. I was like, can anyone stop Vader's force choke? Like, there are probably like a couple people on this list that might be able to.
Not the force choke, but there are people on this list that will put Vader down with relative ease.
Well, light side users, Luke.
You what?
True.
Light side users. The other user is in the. Yeah, if the other user is strong in the force, you can't technically use force power against them unless they're off balance.
Right.
Yeah.
With the force itself.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Magneto versus Spider-Man. Now, I know Spider-Man's suit in freaking what's his name?
All of them.
Tom Holland's.
He's screwed.
Are metal.
Yeah, Spider-Man's done. It's not going to happen for him.
Well, okay. Hold on. So hold on. If we're talking like Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man suits are both not metal, right?
Sure.
But their web slingers are, dude.
Not Tobey's. Tobey's comes straight out of his hand.
Tobey's is organic. That's true. That is organic webbing.
Now, does that change things? Because then it's just basically dodging. And we've seen Spider-Man dodge. I mean, freaking dude, think about him fighting against Jake Gyllenhaal's character, where he
all the drones,
but that's not Tobey, Josh. That was.
I understand. I understand that.
Okay.
I understand that, and that's a good point. But I don't think we've seen. I mean, I guess we can't assume this, but this is tricky because I think Tobey's reflexes. I mean, they're both Spider-Man, so I think it's the exact same reflexes that they have. And I think that. Go ahead.
I'm counting this? I don't know if this changed anything, but like
I'm gonna mute you, Sam, real quick.
Spider-Verse people, or are we?
Yeah. Oh, that's Miles Morales.
Miles Morales,
no,
it's everybody. It could be any variant if we're.
That's true.
Think about the second one.
I guess my mindset is the Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, Tom Holland. Let's go with that.
If you want to go down that road, do you remember in the third Spider-Man where Dave Franco kind of picks up the Goblin Mantle and he throws those little knife blade things at Spider-Man? And Josh, he narrowly avoids getting sliced to bits. He gets cut up like crazy from those things.
Yeah, I think Magneto would. I think Magneto could take like, geez, I'm looking at a balcony right now.
Magneto's god
Taking
tier.
all those, making them into hundreds and hundreds of knives, and sending them through Peter Parker.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, he's skewered. It's over.
I just think about him in that fight scene where he's in the he's pitch black and he dodges every single drone, like 60 drones shooting at him.
Right. I totally.
He takes down all of them. I mean,
sure, but again, you got to think like the drones are like these. They're like this size, dodgeable things. But
true.
I don't know if you have a line of like bullets. I don't care how high you jump, you're not getting out of the way of those bullets. You're going
unless we're in the woods,
right?
No,
or at the beach. If Spider-Man's in the woods against Magneto, it's his best option.
True, because he can swing from and get it.
Or we're at the beach, or we're in like ancient Jerusalem,
right?
With stones.
True. Okay, I guess I didn't think about it. But it's like, is movie Magneto, is he that powerful?
Yeah.
I mean, we just agreed that he would kill Yoda, so I mean, yeah.
Well, I agree with that.
I mean, I'm not just thinking Ian McKellen. I'm also thinking whatever his name, Michael Fassbender was his name, right?
Oh yeah.
He throws down in First Class and some of the
That's
others.
true. He does. It's true. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We'll go Magneto, but I think it might be closer than we're making it out to be.
All right. I'll let Stanley know.
All
right. We got Thor versus Gandalf.
Huh.
Yeah.
It should be Thor, right?
It should be Thor. I mean, the Balrog killed Gandalf.
Right.
And Eru Ilúvatar brought him back to life.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, we've got a pseudo Balrog in the third Thor movie as well. That Thor kind of
true
takes care of.
Surtur? Yeah, you're right. He actually does make short work of that in the opening scene.
Yeah.
That's actually high confluence. Yeah.
Luke's
got a point there.
I think it'd be interesting to see, though. I mean, obviously, like Gandalf, Lord of the Rings takes place in a much earlier time period than Thor. So how would Gandalf's powers adapt to modern day, Thor? It's interesting to think about. Obviously, that's not the conversation we're having, but
I mean, Thor's powers don't really change. I mean, he's like what 1,000 something years. He's like 1,300 years old.
That's true.
And some.
Yeah.
That's true.
I mean, these are both mythical creatures. Right. The mythos of Middle Earth and the mythos of the Norse are pretty much identical. It's like saying Gandalf, Zeus, or Thor. I mean, it's pretty much all the same thing here.
Yeah, true. All right. So Thor moves on. Doctor Strange versus Iron Man.
Oh, I've been doing a lot of talking. You give me your thing first.
No, you're good. Well, my gut originally said Iron Man, but then it's also like let's look at one thing I do appreciate about the movies is that we get a lot of Strange's powers portrayed throughout the movies.
By the way, his character was wasted in Endgame. I think Strange's powers, again, because we're looking at movies, I think they're very underrepresented in most of the movies.
I agree.
Although I don't remember a lot from the second one. So sorry, you were saying, Josh?
Yeah, well, I was going to say, I want to emphasize, this is also Doctor Strange without the Time Stone. Okay? I think that needs to be included. If he has the Time Stone, it's over. I mean, I don't think he beats everybody here, because he can manipulate time. But we also we see him go toe to toe with Thanos as well, not in hand to hand, but from a distance.
Yeah,
and they're both really smart. Oh man,
I think we see in the movies that Doctor Strange still has the same human vulnerabilities. Like he gets choked out and passes out.
Yeah, that's true.
By one of the children of Thanos. I don't remember what his name was. Squidward.
Ball.
Oh yeah.
Ball.
Yeah, that's what Ball.
Yeah. He still has the same human vulnerabilities, right? Because he's an enhanced. Yeah. I think Cap is not Cap. Sorry. Iron Man's got more of a leg up.
Yeah.
I think Iron Man eventually would take it. Again, if we're going off of movies, because I think Doctor Strange's powers are underrepresented in the movies as opposed to what they are in comics.
Yeah. I agree. I think of Doctor Strange's cape, because his cape is actually crazy OP. But I think Tony would also he would find a way. He's smarter. Yeah. Sam, what do you think?
For me?
Yeah, between Doctor Strange and Iron Man.
Well, you're trying to think about times where Doctor Strange ever interacted with an explosion or otherwise. And how did he take explosion damage? How does Tony ever interact with magic? There's nothing that I can use to create a real metric between the two of them. But I mean, I think a pretty high confluence is the Ebony Maw character. He was pretty evenly matched with Strange, but the way Tony beat him was outsmarting him.
Yeah, it's true.
And so the edge of that kind of fight, the only confluence I can think would be Tony Stark for how resourceful he was with what happened.
Yeah.
Do I think that Tony's little Iron Man blast would do jack squat against Doctor Strange? No, I don't think that would do anything against him.
Yeah.
I don't think it'd be a problem for him whatsoever. But that's not really the question.
Right.
It's overall, and maybe Tony's got more illusions and tricks in his suit that Doctor Strange wouldn't think about.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a close match, though.
Yeah, that actually is respectably close.
Okay, Darth Vader versus Magneto.
Magneto, without a doubt.
Magneto.
Yeah, I think so too.
Vader,
yeah, there's
dude,
just. I think it's the same way.
He's got this metal life support on his chest.
Yeah, he literally wears a pacemaker, Josh. You
forgot
have
about
to
that.
hate Star Wars not to know that.
All right, down goes one of the greatest villains ever.
I know, for real.
It just in an instant, no question.
It's funny because this is a good point. Like he is this, that's
iconic villain that just loses in probably 5 seconds.
Cinematic history done.
Yeah, done in 2 seconds. All right, now this one should be good because we've seen it happen in the movies for not near long enough. I wish it was a longer fight. Thor versus Iron Man.
Thor, infinitely.
I think Thor too.
Yeah,
I gotta say Thor.
I mean, Thor's just more powerful. He's a god, and I think if someone, if one of our, eventually, I'm gonna say, if one of the eventually thousands of listeners, comes back, Thor was going easy on him in Avengers 2012.
I agree.
He has the Odin power now, bro. I mean, it's all changed.
True. That's very true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's actually a really good point.
Some nerd fact checks me. I don't check my email that much, so don't worry about it. Don't even bother.
Yeah, I mean, if we're talking like Infinity War, there's no way Tony wins.
I think Thor. I mean,
he literally chopped Thanos straight through the ribs on his own.
I forgot about that. Yeah, that's actually a good point.
Yep.
All right, final matchup is Magneto versus Thor.
Before you answer, just realize that Stormbreaker and Mjolnir aren't made of metals that you would find on Earth.
You said are not or are?
They are not.
They're not.
Because they're magic infused metals, and I don't think Magneto has any ability against those.
Correct. I agree.
Can Thor stop the what we were talking about with him against Spider-Man? Like the sheer amount of
Thor is likely the most durable character in the Marvel. Is one of the most durable characters in the Marvel universe. I mean, he takes the full force of a dying star for 10 minutes.
He takes the dying star. He takes the Power Stone straight to the head, and then in the second one, he literally has a friggin' the Reality Stone thrown against him the whole time, and he just keeps getting up. I mean,
about that movie.
That's a close no contest.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thor takes it in the enhanced bracket. So Batman took it in hand-to-hand. Thor takes it in the enhanced. Now, we're moving on to the guns bracket. Guns bracket. Okay, I know I have Puss in Boots in here, but I didn't want to include in the swordsman bracket because I was like, that's just not fair. Puss in Boots is Puss in Boots. He is unbelievably powerful.
pretty awesome. It's like Zorro.
He's insane. Me and Meredith watched it last night, actually.
Oh, yeah,
yeah, the newest one. Yeah, it's on.
Your camera's on.
Yeah.
Dynamite. Where is there? Are we in the new bracket?
Yep, new
Josh,
bracket. So we have.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I got it. Actually.
Oh yeah, Josh, you can go ahead and pull that up now.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, appreciate it. All right, 10 team. All right, so we have John Wick. We have Puss in Boots. We have Rambo. We have
Wait, guns?
Okay,
guns.
I understand, but I still think he can compete in this bracket. He is so fast. We'll talk about it in a second.
Shoots a gun?
No, I'm saying he has his sword, but I think that he can compete in some of these brackets.
In the gun bracket, because the gun is equal to a sword.
Okay.
I'm just trying to follow what you're saying.
Now hold on. Him in the swordsman bracket would not be fair. He would destroy everybody.
What?
100%. Dude, have you seen him? He's insane.
Yeah.
He doesn't take any damage. He's never been touched by a sword.
If we combine Zorro and Puss in Boots, because Zorro is basically the same person. I think Zorro
same voice actor. Okay, maybe I'll move him. Let's see if I can move him in here. All right, we'll just move Rambo forward.
I think that's a pretty
safe Puss in Boots out.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. All right. Now we have John Wick, Rambo, Robert McCall, which is the Equalizer.
Yep.
Brian Mills, Taken. Star-Lord, Bucky, James Bond. Have you seen Sicario, Sam?
I'm intending to, so please don't spoil anything.
Dang it. Okay. Then let's try to think of one more.
Okay, just put Puss in Boots back in.
All right, sweet.
Put Neo in.
Would Neo be good? All right, so Neo without being enhanced. But Neo doesn't really use that many guns. Wait, what are some of the iconic?
Dude, Sarah Connor.
Sarah Connor does
Terminator 2. The T-800.
Well,
Arnie from Predator. Dutch.
Okay, what? We need one.
Sarah Connor.
All right.
Yep.
All right. Sarah Connor and then Han Solo. Let's start with John Wick versus Rambo.
So are we?
John Wick.
Again, you said who? To
John
qualify
Wick over Rambo.
Yeah. So I agree. Regardless, to qualify, are we talking like handguns? Or are we talking sniper? All of the above.
Sure.
What?
I was thinking strictly handguns, and they're in an arena, like an airsoft arena, right?
Okay.
So like you can hide behind walls. It's more tactical.
Like
it's
airsoft.
not just like an airsoft. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh yeah. It's like like it's basically it's an airsoft arena.
Cool.
with guns.
Yeah. Then John Wick puts him down.
I agree. I haven't seen Rambo, so I can't really give my opinion on this, but yeah. Okay. We got Robert McCall from The Equalizer versus Brian Mills from Taken. Remember, these are both the same.
Oh yeah.
They both have the same
It's
motivation.
a great matchup.
That's a really good matchup because they're
so much of that is similar.
They're very well positioned against each other. I think Robert McCall comes out on top.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell me what scene of the film gives you the trust that his gun work is better than Brian's? I'd like to point out in the second movie, he's driving in that taxi to the embassy, and he's wielding a handgun like mad. I mean, even the third one, he goes up against guys half his age with a handgun and still takes them out.
Mm-hmm.
High-level killers. And McCaw, from The Equalizer, all of the people he takes out, in the first movie, he doesn't even kill anyone with a handgun. He utilizes other tools. He's not a marksman. And Liam Neeson takes out the majority of his assailants with a handgun.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
So just using a piece of evidence from the film, there's no good reason why you would take The Equalizer in handguns over Liam Neeson Taken. Across all three Takens.
To be fair, I haven't seen Taken 2 or 3. I've only seen the first one. But
have you not?
Well, that's going to make this very hard, Josh.
Yeah, that's why this is up to you guys now. I'm gonna go off what I know from the Equalizers.
Brian takes, he reassembles a gun that his daughter drops down that chimney to shoot the guy. I mean, he's in gun battles the entire time in episode 2 when he's in Istanbul.
Their training is still like almost identical though. Like they're both like ex operators and incredibly like they still
True.
about the same in anything weapons based.
But this is about guns, and I can't think of a time that Robert McCaw utilizes a gun that would give me any belief that he's any better than Liam Neeson. If it was a fight about training modalities, that's a real question. This is about guns. Robert McCaw doesn't use guns. So I can't give it to him, in all honesty.
That's a fair point. I'll give it to you.
I'm not trying to disagree with it.
No. Luke, are you going Brian or Robert?
I mean, if we're basing it off of movie evidence, I mean, Sam makes a compelling argument there.
He does.
That I'll be willing to concede to.
Okay.
We can give it to Brian.
All right. We got Star-Lord gets a bye. We got Bucky versus James Bond. Now, I just love to. I was through this. I just love to imagine it. Like them two on opposite sides of like an airsoft arena with a pistol.
Mm-hmm. I'd say Bucky.
I'd say Bucky as well.
Bucky infinitely. James Bond is an assassin.
Bucky just takes it. Like, yeah, he's just he's quicker. He's just more. He's better trained. He's more powerful. Yeah.
Bond's gun is for self-defense. It's not for like assassinations.
It's it's like a 380, right? The
so Walter. Yeah, well, sometimes it's a P99, but
the classic
originally,
Bond gun,
yes, the classic Bond gun is incredibly
it's 9mm or 380, yeah.
Okay. Brosnan's was a 9mm.
Right.
All right. Up next, I haven't seen Terminator, so
what?
We got, I know. We got Sarah Connor versus Han Solo.
Han is not that good of a marksman.
I agree. I threw him in here.
Hold on. Before you say that he's not, I'd like to point out the scene in The Force Awakens at Maz Kanata's temple, where he literally one-shots every stormtrooper and then even points his gun to the right and fires without looking and hits a stormtrooper. The fact of that is...
I blocked that movie out of my brain, so I don't...
Do not remember that at all. Yeah,
you're welcome to go watch, because the fact of the matter is, what makes him a great pilot is that he has some midichlorians. Not enough to be considered a Jedi, but enough to be moderately force sensitive, which is what makes him a fast marksman, the fastest quick draw, and the best reflexes for piloting without being a Jedi. So Han is almost as peak human as reflexes and accuracy can be. Because what makes him a great pilot, the greatest in the galaxy, is also what makes him a great marksman.
Interesting points from a Star Wars lover.
Yeah, I've never seen Star Wars. But even in that scene, in Force Awakens, he literally doesn't miss a single shot. He's shooting everything without even looking, because he feels it through the few midichlorians he has. This is as nerdy as I'll get today.
So little, so very little.
I just think Han is so mid. I don't think he's
okay. Can you tell me times in the films where his accuracy or gun wielding is mid?
Now, I'm not saying that. I'm saying it's mid. Bailey making an appearance, even though she doesn't watch our podcast.
Yeah.
Well, you can't watch a podcast.
Yeah, you can on YouTube.
You see me walking over here trying?
For all our Spotify listeners, Luke's wife, Bailey, just walked on screen.
Right.
I haven't been on the podcast yet because Josh is scared.
No, I'm not. Bailey.
Bailey, you're not much. Josh hasn't seen half the movies we're talking about.
That is such a lie. You haven't seen Gray Man or...
Josh, are you literally comparing Gray Man to Terminator?
I'll go movie to movie with you, and I win this battle.
That's
I win
fine.
this battle
I
any
probably
day.
memorized all the movies anyways. I'm the only one pulling from actual contextual relevance.
In what manner?
Show me scenes where Han Solo doesn't live up to who you think he is as a gunslinger.
I'm saying he's like mid in comparison to people in this bracket. We haven't seen the gunsmanship of Han Solo in comparison to a John Wick or a Bucky or even a Brian Mills or we just haven't seen that. And I don't know Sarah Connor, so obviously I can't give this a comparison here. But from what I've seen, I don't think Han Solo is this incredibly impressive gunsman.
Well, I mean, but we have though. I mean, he wields the turret in the Millennium Falcon with incredible precision. He does better than Luke Skywalker at that, and he's a better shot than other people. I mean, but it's fine. I'm not like here to defend Han Solo, but I just think if you're gonna take Han Solo and say, well, he can't do this, you'd have to show me times where he's flawed at the ability to shoot.
I'm not saying he's flawed in shooting. I'm just saying he's mid compared to the people on this bracket.
Well, that's why we have the bracket.
Right.
So compared to Sarah Connor, I think he wins.
Okay, because I haven't seen anything about Sarah Connor, but I'm just giving you my opinion on Han Solo in comparison to the rest of people in this bracket.
That's dynamite. My camera's not working.
Luke, what are you doing? Sarah Connor or Han Solo?
Thinking through. I give it to Sarah Connor, just to be
okay. So we'll do we'll do a coin toss. Heads or tails? It's heads. Sarah Connor takes it forward. All right. Oh, we gotta do. All right. Star-Lord versus Bucky.
Bucky.
I agree because we haven't seen Star-Lord with a pistol. So I mean, we have his like.
He can unload it with his laser. But you what?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, just shoots at random.
Star-Lord also is just like we see him in multiple scenes as kind of a tactical moron.
Yeah, he just kind of flies off the handle. He's not very.
Yeah, he's not. There's no way he's beating Bucky. Yeah, it's not even close, actually. Yeah. All right. Is there a conversation with John Wick versus Brian Mills?
Excuse me for a second.
It means John Wick wins.
Yeah.
Are
you good?
Good.
Tell Bailey to stop smoking.
You? Yeah, is your wife bothering you? Leave her,
Luke. Cough if she's bothering you.
I don't know how much more clear I can be. Excuse me. Sorry.
Okay. So John Wick takes it.
Wick, yes.
Bucky versus Sarah Connor. I'm just gonna go Bucky here because I don't think.
Yep.
And then
I'd say either of those were gonna go out in this round anyway.
Bucky versus John Wick. I still think Wick takes it.
Yep.
Really? Even though Bucky's proven to be able to block bullets with his metal arm.
Oh,
yeah,
so
I mean, but you see the same thing with John Wick fighting people with these bulletproof suits.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, he does have. We're assuming he has his bulletproof suit.
Yeah, his little bulletproof thing. But now we also have to go with who can be faster. I mean, Bucky can run as fast as a car, as he did in Civil War. I mean, where have we been able to see that John Wick can rival the stamina of Bucky running from wall to wall or evading something? I'm not saying that he's not an incredible shot.
I think you could still outsmart him because John
I
Wick
think so too.
Tactically more well versed than
and he's more accurate as well.
Yep, I'd agree.
Again, with when it comes to the bulletproof idea, like it depends on the caliber, because high enough caliber will go right through that the suit.
But we're talking just a 9mm.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right. Maybe he's okay against a 45, up to a 45. But yeah, I think John beats out in just strategy, and at the end of the day, strategy would beat out Bucky's enhancements there because I mean he can still get shot in the head or shot in the torso or any of that. And
because honestly, as well as John Wick's ability to shoot headshots is off the charts better than anybody here.
Call of Duty, it's like Josh playing Call of Duty. No joke.
100%. 100%. It's over.
That's a good argument.
So if it did come down like a quick shot for both sides, I John takes it.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. All right. So John Wick is the winner of our guns bracket. We have 2 more left. These will be quicker.
Yeah.
Turning
into like a Joe Rogan 5-hour podcast.
Yeah, I know, dude. Literally. Sean Ryan, yeah.
Sean,
all right.
yeah.
Yeah. All right, we got our swordsman bracket here.
Ooh.
We have Aragorn, Maximus, Nathan Algren from Last Samurai, Zorro, Kane from John Wick, and Jack Sparrow.
Oh, yeah.
I gave Aragorn and Jack Sparrow the 2 buys. Let's talk about Maximus versus Nathan Algren.
2 entirely different methods of fighting.
Yeah,
one is a 2-handed katana, while the other is a small Roman gladiator sword. So the fact of the matter is the katana has a further reach, and assuming that Nathan Algren is accurate, he will have a whole lot more points scored against Maximus for his reach with that sword.
Yep.
And it will be a heavier swing than that of Maximus's. So does Maximus have a shield, or does he just have the sword?
That's a good point.
Because those are paired together. The gladius and shield are like.
But hold on, but they're not. He doesn't have the shield in hardly any fight in the entire film. Well, the one up against Commodus, he doesn't. The one where they're out in the arena, he doesn't. The one where he goes into battle on horseback in Germania, he doesn't.
That's true. I guess I'm thinking more just like when it comes down to the Roman military.
Like historically, yeah.
When you're not a slave fighting for pigs, you pair the shield with the gladius.
You do. It's true.
Is my thought process. But if we're going just swords, I'd agree with Sam that Nathan does take it.
So even with all the military experience he has in sword fighting, Maximus,
Nathan has.
You still think?
Nathan has a ton.
That's true.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
So if Maximus has a shield, like truly history would dictate, it would go to the winner because he has a shield. If without the shield, then Nathan Algren would win that, especially in samurai armor.
Yeah, I think it's without the shield. So, true. All right. We got Zorro from Mask of Zorro, which I haven't seen, versus Kane from John Wick.
John Wick 4.
Yeah, John Wick 4. Now, for listeners, Kane is blind, so that's a really, it's a very important note to have.
That was an interesting character.
That was an interesting.
But he also he kicks butt though.
He does. He's great, but it's an accurate representation of an expert fighting blind because he does have his limitations.
Right.
I mean Zorro is a master swordsman. With the rapier. He is an expert, almost expert level gymnast. He's an excellent gymnast. He's really good with his surroundings. I think that Zorro ends up taking that one.
Yeah.
I still can't get over Luke saying that Kane from John Wick 4 is an accurate representation of a blind man fighting.
I think it is. If he's referring to that one scene.
Have you seen the ending 20 minutes of John Wick 4?
I agree. That part's so dumb.
He has to.
Like where he feels around and he puts.
Yeah, he puts the beepers. He puts the motion sensor beepers on the wall.
Yeah.
I respected that.
He didn't have like a Daredevil level clairvoyance when it comes to just being able to fight in the same mode. He can't fight the same way. He has to make up for it in other capacities.
Yeah.
For other characters like that, you see them just like they can be just like a Daredevil, where they're just it's like they're blind but they're not.
I'm just not realizing I should have put Inigo Montoya on this.
Dude, that would have been a good
I forgot. or Wesley. Honestly, Wesley's probably
you
better.
hate that movie?
Me?
Sam?
Yeah,
Sam,
I don't care for it at all.
Are you kidding me? That movie's, I think, perfect.
Okay.
whoa, wow, we can do.
I wouldn't like not a 5-star movie
tell
for me, but
Jesus.
there's nothing wrong with it.
Every time I'm on here, I'm
I
gonna find a way to say it. I love Josh's hyperboles. He makes these
This is not a hyperbole.
huge statements.
I'm not
like-
saying it's a 5-star movie, but I'm saying there's nothing wrong with the movie.
There's plenty wrong with the movie.
There's not. All right, we're not talking about that. All right, so Zorro. Is Zorro taking it?
Yes.
I'd say so. Yes.
Okay. Aragorn versus Nathan Algren.
I'd like to point out that Aragorn successfully fought a cave troll 1v1 in the Battle of the Black Gate.
It's true.
You use different tactics, though. You use different tactics against that brute force than against Nathan. I still say Aragorn takes it.
I mean, Aragorn has to because he's like 87 and he has a ton of battle IQ from being trained in Rivendell throughout his life. I mean, it's exceptional amounts. I mean, and he fought off like 5 ring wraiths at the same time.
That's true.
Right.
That is true.
I agree completely.
Yeah, I think Aragorn definitely takes it. All right, Zorro versus Jack Sparrow.
Now this is interesting because it's very they use very similar kind of Jax is a little more sporadic, but they use similar apparatus when they're fighting. They're very good at adapting to incredibly good at adapting to their surroundings. I think Zorro's proficiency is just higher though, because his yeah. Go ahead.
I didn't mean to cut you off.
Be fun.
I'd like to point out that Jack Sparrow loses every sword fight he's in the first movie.
That's in the first.
Doesn't.
Yeah, name a sword fight that he wins in the first movie.
Does he not beat Barbossa?
No. He shoots Barbossa while Will drops the coin. Barbossa straight up stabs him in the movie, and if he didn't have the immortal coin curse, he'd have been dead. And then he fights Will in the beginning opening scene, and Will disarms him like 4 times.
But he still holds
the point of Jack Sparrow,
and he's also messing around with Will most of the time. He's not.
I mean, that fight progresses into a great, cascade of really epic choreography. I don't think Jack was just joking the entire time. You can see a bit of genuine fear in his eye. It makes him pull his pistol on him.
But he defeats Davy Jones. So it's also like
when?
Well, I'm talking about when he grabs when he disarms him and gets the key.
But Davy Jones snaps his sword in half with his claw, and he has to run for his life. Josh, he doesn't win fights. The funny thing about Jack Sparrow is he's such a doofus, but he barely gets away with it.
No. In the first movie, we see he is so tactically educated in swordsmanship.
How? Okay, I understand. How? Can you just tell me an example?
Yeah, so when he's fighting Will, and he's like, okay, the footwork he has, and the ability to keep up. He describes how he's doing everything in the first movie when he's fighting against Will.
Right, but he still gets beat by Will.
I don't know.
I think so. Regardless of either argument, I still think Zorro takes it because Zorro is
Zorro's gonna win.
He's a Mexican Batman. He is a trained.
I haven't seen Zorro, so
quite literally exactly what he is in my mind. He's like a trained. He's like a vigilante level guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Zorro's the right choice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. The finals for the swordsman bracket is Aragorn versus Zorro.
I think Aragorn, son of Arathorn, has to take this one. Zorro.
I mean, one swing of his sword would snap Zorro's in half. Zorro's is a very small sword. It was a very.
I was thinking about that too. I was like, if Nathan Algren was in the situation and fighting against Zorro or Jack Sparrow, wouldn't just the katana go straight through?
Yes.
A katana would slice through the rapier. Yeah.
Yeah, but regardless, if it was an equal sword fight, I haven't seen Zorro, so I can't really give an opinion.
Zorro, he can get serious, and he's again incredibly skilled, very good. But at the end of the day, I think when it comes down to it, Aragorn's just more experienced. He's more tactical. He's more not tactical. He's more strategic.
Yeah.
I just think he's the better fighter.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Aragorn, son of Aragorn, wins this bracket. Now we're on to our final one, which is the cyborg bracket.
Final.
This was a last minute call.
A bonus bracket.
A bonus bracket. Yeah, a bonus bracket. So in this, we have Iron Man again. We have T-800 Terminator, Optimus Prime, Ultron, Predator, and Neo Matrix. I gave Neo and Iron Man a bye.
Okay.
Now let's talk about T-800 Terminator versus Optimus Prime. Now, Sam, you wanted both these in, so I'm gonna go to you first and give your opinion on this.
I thought we were just naming action heroes, so I came up with a few other iconic ones. I think Optimus Prime would step on the T-800 and it would be over.
Okay, cool. I haven't seen Terminator, so I don't really know.
Yeah, I agree. I think like Optimus Prime is just how I don't even know how he's like a couple stories.
Yeah, how tall is Optimus?
Oh, yeah, he beats out.
He's incredibly tall. I have to tell you.
Yeah, he's 28 feet tall.
Yeah,
yeah,
he's a robot in disguise. What can I say?
Robots in disguise.
All right, Ultron versus Predator.
Oh, dude, great fight.
Ultron versus the Predator. I mean,
oh wow.
I'm trying. It's been a while since I've seen the Predator, so I'm trying to think through.
Dude, it's been a while since I stopped watching Predator. You know, the question comes down to can Ultron's AI detect the Predator's cloaking device? And if the answer is yes, then Ultron wins.
Yeah,
true.
I think my gut says. I mean,
Tony Stark would beat the Predator, and so I'd give it to Ultron.
Yeah.
Okay. I haven't seen Predator, so. Okay. Iron Man versus Optimus Prime. Now, this is interesting because both Iron Man and Ultron are in some semifinals. So Iron Man versus Optimus Prime here.
That's an interesting.
I think Iron Man wins here.
Still confused as to okay, what would an EMP do to an Autobot?
Nothing, because they don't run on electricity or gasoline. They run on the Allspark.
Okay, I'm very unfamiliar with those movies.
Yeah, I am too.
Nerding out so hard. I regret all of my.
A bunch of idiots. It's the Allspark, you dummy.
Oh, I think there's enough grace to go around in this episode for everybody.
I think I've seen the first Transformers, and then I refuse to watch the other one.
Well, you don't have to do this for me, Josh. Like, we can just say Iron Man wins.
I think Iron Man can cut through him with his red laser thing. I
also just think Iron Man's too fast. If you're 28 feet tall, you don't have the mobility that Iron Man has.
Yeah, Iron Man takes.
I just think Iron Man can just fire at him from all cylinders.
No doubt.
All right, Ultron versus Neo Matrix.
The difficult thing is that Neo is a borderline god.
Right, this is a really hard one because Neo's in a completely different universe in itself.
I mean, Neo literally breaks computer code for a living.
Right.
Even based
that's a great point.
Even based on that, Neo could find his way into beating Ultron, and then if you bring into peak of his power, Neo.
Right. It's hard to stop him.
I think he's just he's unstoppable.
Now I'm gonna bring this in because if that's the case, then I think Neo's also beating Iron Man.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
So for entertainment value, we can say Neo wins, but I'm gonna let's put Ultron here and then let's talk about this.
Screw the rules.
Screw the rules. It's my podcast.
Yeah.
So let's say let's just say Neo wins, but let's talk about Ultron versus Iron Man real quick. Iron Man, I think obviously he made Ultron,
Mm-hmm.
but Ultron is far wiser, and like, do we? I forget. Do we see? I don't think we see a one-on-one fight between these two.
Yes,
Well, yeah,
we
we
do.
do. Yeah, we do.
On
yeah,
the
we
tanker.
Do. Yeah.
I'm trying to think through that chore of a movie.
I actually kind of like.
Josh loves it.
I love it. It's crazy.
I think it's the weakest Avengers.
I agree.
They made.
And they have a standoff in Sokovia before all the fighting starts.
Right.
That's right. Yeah, they do.
I mean, it's hard, right? Because I'm going through all of these. I'm going through all these kind of different scenarios in my head where I'm like, well, I can't think of how, but because I feel like Tony would somehow find a way to, like, to beat, even if not physically, like beat the code, as it were, right?
Yeah.
Of Ultron and shut him down somehow. I don't know how that would be.
Right.
That's my inclination.
Yeah.
Or she's just done Vision versus Neo.
That would have been good. That would have been good. I can change that real quick and we can talk about it.
No, I'm all right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, but in
final consensus is that Neo wins out.
Yeah, Neo wins it.
The fascinating
It's not even
idea would
close.
have been for the third Iron Man to have introduced Ultron in that, because what the third movie should have been was the comic line Iron Man, I think it's called Iron Wars, where the Ultron program, it corrupts Tony Stark's father's brain, I want to say, and then it builds an AI out of Tony's dad's mind.
Oh wow.
And it makes all these Iron Man robots versus Tony's Iron Man robots, and it's a real AI nightmare come to life for Tony Stark. You know, the darker version of his mental processes versus Ultron's, in this great one-on-one fight. And it would have been such a better way to introduce the character of Ultron, and otherwise than having to spend the entirety of Avengers on it, because that's another way it could have gone. And just as story goes, that's such a better reason for Tony Stark to get that kind of paranoia fear that he would have gone into Civil War with, than the silly guy. What happened? He walked into some room and Scarlet Witch like moderately paranoid him, and it like changes his entire character motivation. That was so weak, dude. I mean,
I'm trying to remember that.
You remember the opening of the movie, Josh? He walks in and Scarlet Witch like kind of scares him.
That's why he creates Ultron, is because he has this vision of like
he freaked out.
And then he's like, we need a suit of armor around the world. And then he goes
because of a literal 10-second daydream. That, I mean, I'm sorry, I don't want to be, too crass about it. It's like having a dream that your girlfriend breaks up with you and then saying to your girlfriend, we need a suit of armor around our, relationship. We need to get married and have 15 covenants. It's like, no, it was just like this sort of bizarre overkill that could have been established with a conviction he learned in Iron Man 3, but they didn't do that. And so they tried to shoehorn Ultron in as the nightmare come to life from the literal made-up silly dream he had at the beginning of the movie within the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
You see how that, like, it wasn't a natural progression for the character, and then...
No, I agree.
And then they had to set up Civil War, and Black Panther, and Ragnarok, and Infinity War. It's like, what a chore. If they'd have taken Iron Man 3 to set up Tony's paranoia, it would have been character appropriate coming into Age of Ultron.
It's true. That's true.
Yeah. I
well, guys, that is our 5 brackets. So the winners, hand-to-hand was Batman. Guns was John Wick.
Obviously.
Enhanced was Magneto. Swordsman was Aragorn. And then Cyborg was Neo. Yeah. Luke, Sam, thanks for being on.
Josh, thanks for having us.
Yeah, man.
You're welcome, Josh.
That was a lot of good conversations. The original 3, me, Mary, and Maddie will be back next week talking about Materialists, the new movie that just came out. But yeah, so we'll be back next week. But Luke and Sam, thanks for being on here.
Thanks for having us, man.
Thank you, Josh.
We will catch you guys next week. Later.
See you.